Donnatella, you are live.
I am? Oh, awesome. Hi, and welcome to another exciting edition of Journeys from Lagos to Brooklyn. So, we got a little technical issue going on, and I'm a bit frazzled. It's a crazy day. I did get my eyelashes done, and some of them are coming out. And of course, our lovely young lady is going to walk right across the camera because we are streaming live from Amarachi Lounge. Thank you, MJ. You can never look bad. You can never look bad. Right, she's here. I am all over the place. So today we have a few camera challenges. It's myself and Bob. We're live in Amarachi Lounge at 189 Bridge Street. You should do me a huge favor. Actually, if you could be the first person to come in live, I will treat you to a cocktail. Let's do a cocktail. So that's great. You can even go online and do one. Okay, so what are we talking about today while Bob is trying to work with his camera? Whew, I am hot.
Let's talk about your president
not conceding?
not conceding. Your president still is in office.
Well, he's still in office.
He's still fighting. I don't know what. Well, we do know what the agenda is. They don't.
I think we need to turn the music down a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear us over the music?
I need 2 seconds. I need you to come to me and fix my camera.
Okay.
So I need you to do the focus. There you go. And I need you to zoom in. Keep filming. Keep filming. Keep filming. Okay, cool. And now focus. Keep going. You got it. You're good. You're good money. There we go. There goes that smile. There we go. Now we're rocking. So yes, our president-in-chief has yet to give up power. He looks like he doesn't plan on giving up power. So what are we going to do? I mean, this has been 2 weeks now. We've been at this position that we're in now, where we have a president that lost an election that doesn't want to get out. If this was a third world nation, I think America would already be bombing them and causing all kinds of civil unrest. So what does America do with its own problem now? Donnatella.
Yes. So of course we were talking to them, and I was running around, so I didn't hear you, but I know we're talking about our current president who refuses to allow the elected president to take his rightful place in history. He won't concede. And there are quite a few different, I don't know, conspiracy theorists or reasons why he won't concede at this point. And so one of the ones that I heard, and I'm not sure, actually, no, I'll take that back. So I did do a little research. So apparently, I think it's the 12th Amendment of the Constitution, which states that if the acting president does not concede, does not admit to losing the presidency, at some point, if he can get a court to recognize that there was an issue in the way the election was ran, that they move from the popular vote, which Biden has, along with the electoral votes, and if I remember correctly, the vote then goes to the House. And the way the House is set up right now, with the Republicans having, I think it's 37 members of the Republican House would be for Trump, that if each person counted as one vote, he could actually steal the White House by winning by Congress.
Hold on. So you're saying that how but they don't have a majority in Congress.
I can't hear you.
They don't have a majority in Congress.
No, well, so I'm not sure if it's the House, but I think what
the House of Representatives. They're more Democrats than Republicans. The Senate has more Republicans.
Well, whichever one it was, and I hate giving misinformation. I don't remember. So the House has more
Democrats.
No, so whatever it was that they they keep stating unless, like, you know, there's a lot of propaganda on the internet. Apparently the votes in terms of the Republicans would mean that he would win. I dislike giving misinformation or improper information, but that's one of the theories. Then there's another one, right? That, you know how we all thought that on the election day or the day after there was going to be a lot of violence, a lot of civil unrest. If Trump could manipulate his followers, and there's 70 million of them, and then you have all those militia, and you have what are these guys called? The something boys?
Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys. There's an all-women's group in New Jersey.
Proud Girls.
Are they called the Proud Girls? No, they had another name. They have another name. But if you could get those people to create enough violence and civil unrest in the street where you could, let's say, claim martial law, under martial law, the sitting president also doesn't have to transition into the new elected president. I don't know if that's true.
But how long does he think he can hold this up for? How can you rule a country that doesn't... Listen, we still outnumber the people that voted for him. Those of us that voted for Biden still outnumber those that voted for Trump.
Yeah,
how does he expect to get away with this?
Of course he does. I mean, the fact that he's actually the sitting president and he's a reality star with no political background.
In his bunker for next 4 years. He came out.
He came out and he did one speech talking about the coronavirus. And for me, watching that speech, you could see he was completely deflated. He wasn't able to make as big a mockery of that position as he normally does. He really stuck to the script in terms of talking about the coronavirus. But he was still consistent with Xing out New York and fighting with our government.
The media would not allow him to get listen, you can't get, this is a loser's cause. Nobody's going to, he can't do nothing.
I don't know, but he's blocking him so far. And to me, Biden cannot afford to come in and be the aggressive and be the bully.
Why not?
Right? Well, because we already had a presidency like that. And no, we didn't. We've had a bully president for over 3 years.
Biden is not, there's a difference from being a bully. So you're saying Martin Luther King was a bully? When you're fighting for
I'm
your
talking
right.
about, I said he can't come in and be a bully president. We already had
No, what I'm saying is him fighting for his rights, which he legally won an election, is not him being a bully.
No, but they are doing that. He is legally fighting for the right to take over the presidency, and if you do it legally, there are steps that you have to go through. The current president is entitled by law to question the process, and in questioning the process, you have to go to civil court, go to courts. Yes, we want you because I'm thirsty. Please, ma'am.
I just want some water. Some water with salsa.
We're live and I came and I need something to drink. I would like water and one of your drinks. Yes, please, MJ. Yes, MJ said it. Sorry. Sorry. So let's go back. Let's go back to the topic. The current president, and I'm not Republican, so let's get that clear because I don't want anybody in the comments say, oh, she must be Republican. I am Democratic. I did vote for the Biden-Harris ticket, but the acting president is within his right to question the election. Now, to me, it then goes to what limit or to what extent is he able to question? Because I think the first couple of lawsuits they tried to file were immediately dismissed. He may be able to get one in Florida because isn't that where all his people are?
Yeah, one in Florida.
A judge to listen. That's all he really needs. He needs the courts to push him to the next step to go to Congress. So we're going to come in the camera, come around this way so they can actually see you. No, I mean, when you walk. We just come this way. We are socially distanced here. That's why I do not have a mask. Bend down so they can see your pretty face, so they can see your mask. You have to come down further. They can't see you.
I'm not giving MJ any airtime. She's busy walking in front of our show up.
Come on, Bobby. You know how to do that on purpose. You're screaming at 6, not this. No, it's usually 5. Oh, and it's terrible. Anyways. So we don't curse here. That would be creating a hostile environment, and we don't do that. But no. Yeah, I think he's going to stay there as long as he can. And I think the fence that he built around the White House to so-called protect him from, civil unrest and the people who don't have any respect for government is really to keep him inside. So that we can get someone and pull him out.
No, the Secret Service, I mean, please. That's just a charade. That's.
You think it's a charade? But that's the tax.
Him building.
And that was probably the taxpayers' dollars. How much did that fence cost around
building another wall? Like, he really thinks that's going to protect him? You think that's going to protect him from us?
I don't know, but I think it's a waste of tax dollars.
That's what he's been doing.
Agreed.
He's been wasting tax dollars. He's wasting our time. I'm sick of the Democrats playing along. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Okay, so what do you? All right, so what do you think should happen?
I think that there are enough. Listen, I'm sure there are protocols. There are steps that they can take to force his hand. They're not pushing the issue. One thing I hate about these Democrats is that they're so soft. Like, they're soft. There's no other way to call it. They're just soft.
Okay,
and
so
they don't like rattling the cage.
Go back to your Martin
You gotta rattle the cage.
So you're contradicting yourself because earlier you referenced Martin Luther King.
What about it? I referenced Martin Luther King because you said Biden can't be a bully. I said fighting for your rights, not being a bully. Martin Luther King is not considered a bully because he fought for his rights. So in the same breath, you can't call Biden a bully for him saying, "Yo, give me what's mine."
Well, I think he does. I think it would not be in his best light to be the aggressor right now. Biden.
Would you have a problem with Biden saying, "Yo, you got to get out, bro"?
But he has basically said that.
No, it can't be basically. He has to.
You have to allow, at least try in the beginning, to allow the legal steps.
The lady that's the head of the GSA should have been called into Congress and answer questions why she has not started the transition program.
Thank you.
Why haven't they dragged her into Congress yet to answer why she hasn't started her transition?
But
that has nothing to do with Trump and his legal shenanigans. She has a job to do. She's not doing it.
But isn't she Republican?
Yes.
I think she refused to so far.
So drag her into Congress. Congress has the ability to do that, and they're not doing that. That's what I'm saying.
I think right now it's kind of like in corporate America, right? When you raise a complaint with human resources could automatically act, but usually what they do is they go and talk to the company's leader to figure out what's the best thing for the firm and the best thing for the employee. So I think that's what's happening now. The powers that be are in the background discussing the most efficient and best way to handle and save face, because our president is already
they had to be prepared for this. They had to know this guy was going to do this. We all knew this guy. So you're telling me now they're just now starting to have these conversations? That's ridiculous. They should have been having. They should already know what to do. They should already have a course of action. But they just have the country just sitting
there. How do you know they don't have one? You're speculating.
They're not doing anything.
That doesn't mean you don't have a course of action. People don't see you putting in all the hard work to run this restaurant, but you're doing it. They just come in and sit there.
No, I get results. Every night you come in, there's this freaking steak. They're chicken wings, all right? Those are results. So I'm not holding up the world on some chicken wings, all right?
We're getting results as well. The democracy is working. Now, what will be alarming is as we start getting to those final days. Like right now, it's not even Thanksgiving yet. So people are still kind of calm, right? But as we get into December and you start getting closer to, what day is the inauguration? It's January something,
January
right?
21st.
January 21st? We still have 2 months. The idea is just to make sure that he doesn't undo everything to kind of sabotage the first 100 days of the president-elect. Because I think so far he's fired several people, right? And moved them around.
Yeah.
The first 100 days is really going to be about restaffing if that's possible.
Well,
in my opinion.
I speak for many people. I'm completely frustrated with this process.
I can't hear you, bro.
I said I'm completely frustrated with this process, and I need the Democrats to step it up. Let's get the show on. Let's go. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever.
You sound like Peter. You sound like Peter.
Let's go. It's time.
He's nasty.
They're leaving. Don't worry about it.
So I get it, but it's happening. I promise you. Okay, so today we have quite a few topics. I hate to go from doom to more gloom, but did you see in the news that Bobby Brown's son died yesterday?
Well, absolutely. Let me tell you something. Those people, they made some deal with something. That whole situation is like cursed from hell.
So
they must have made a deal with the devil, literally, if there's a devil.
I have a friend who's in Turkey. That's exactly what he texted me. It's ridiculous. He replied to my WhatsApp story.
Either that or they all complete drug addicts.
Well, yeah, so that was one thing.
So drugs were the curse.
Yeah, I think it's drugs and money, right? But my friend is literally sitting in Istanbul, Turkey, and he replied to my WhatsApp status video, and he said, Donna, what type of curse is on him? Who cursed his family? And of course, I'm like, I don't know.
Everybody.
I couldn't read the story.
And he's the only one still. Is he alive?
Who, Bobby?
Yeah,
Bobby Brown's still alive.
He needs to go.
Someone who grew up in those days watching Bobby Brown and New Edition, I said to myself when I saw the story today, I don't know how he's going to survive this. Because now you have his wife, his sister, his daughter, and now his son. And the son was only 28 years old. I don't know anything about Bobby Brown Jr.
It's extremely unfortunate. Bobby, if you're listening, us Yoruba people have a spirituality called Ifa, a spiritual system. You need to go find a Babalawo and find out what's going on with your life, because everything you're doing is not working out, and it's time for you to come to the truth. And our Babalawos will definitely give you the truth and figure out a way for you to find peace and happiness in your life, because what you're doing, or whoever's been advising you, or whatever systems you've been using, are failing you and failing you miserably. So it's time now to come back to Africa.
Well, I don't.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't practice the same religion, but I will say that someone very close and dear to the show was the beneficiary of a blessing as per. Who did you have pray for them?
Oh my God, Jesus! Is anything serious?
The person's name.
Oh my God, Donnatella, me and you can't have any conversations.
Hey, well, I just think people should know that it works. I had a prayer said for me.
Well, can you talk about yourself?
Okay, I had a prayer said for me. I don't remember what type of person did we have do the prayer.
I don't know. I'm confused. You confused me.
He's trying to keep all his goodness to himself. But I'm a Christian. But, sometimes you can be the recipient of other goodness. Yeah.
What's your next topic? You completely bombed this one.
Okay, I think I did very well on that topic. Let's spend a few moments talking about Black Restaurant Week, because I'm so surprised I haven't really seen any type of advertisements kind of hyping up people's interest to go to different Black businesses, except for my dear friend who owns Order Top Shelf. She's trying her best to promote a different Black business restaurant every day?
What I'll say is that people that know about Black Restaurant Week are out supporting Black restaurants. The general populace is not. And who do we expect to actually promote this? But us. If we're not going to do the work and promote, don't expect nobody else is going to do it. I said, if we're not going to do the work and promote
ourselves,
no one else is going to do it.
Well, I've seen Brooklyn Prime posts a few things about Black Restaurant Week, but I think I have seen Restaurant Week reported and advertised for years, but I do believe this is my first year actually seeing Black Restaurant Week being promoted, and I think it has a lot to do with the pandemic and the fact that, in my personal opinion, I think Black businesses were more negatively impacted in the New York City area than other businesses. I could be wrong.
I mean, absolutely, black restaurants were certainly impacted. But like I said, when it comes to the marketing and promotion, this is why we don't have organizations that support. There's no movement. Where's the Urban League? Where's the NAACP? We have a lack of leadership, and when you have lack of leadership, things don't get done. So who's bringing awareness to Black Restaurant Week? Sure, there's small
maybe we haven't seen it, and it's out there.
It's small.
BET is doing something?
Have you seen it?
I don't watch BET.
If you haven't seen it, as much as you're on media, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there are over 400 million active accounts on Instagram alone, and maybe I haven't seen it.
I've asked friends, I've asked my people, it's time to put a political movement together. It's time to get something done. We need a new NAACP, we need a new Urban League. I'm not talking, Black Lives Matter, I have no idea what the hell their agenda is, but it ain't it. They're not it. They're not doing it.
Well,
I don't know what they're doing.
I hear people saying that they're not really for us, and it was partially a distraction because a lot of laws that negatively impact our community were passed on November 3rd because everybody was so distracted with this movement. Like, I think in several states, was it Utah? One of these states actually passed a law making cocaine and those other drugs legal on the small dosage level. And I think we're like moving toward being like Amsterdam, where they don't really care if the little fiends are out having drugs, but the big kingpin type people are who they're going to target.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, I don't care. I don't do drugs.
Listen, it is what it is. Once again, who's fighting for us?
But I think there are a lot of people. I think there's no central meeting point where like everybody's kind of congregating. There's a lot of people doing their own initiatives, and you miss out sometimes.
It's not enough. There's not enough awareness being raised. Sure, there's a national pandemic going on. We have COVID. We have Thanksgiving around the corner.
Oh my goodness!
But once again, like I said, no one's beating the drum for our causes. If it was General Restaurant Week, you would have more support from New York City.
Right.
And you have
all the restaurants.
You have talking about it. You have the Blasio talking about it. It'll be on Fox 5 News.
Brooklyn Girl talking about it.
But it's not enough.
It isn't.
It's not enough. It's not
and
enough.
I think it is the 22nd, so there's still enough time. So let me just do some promoting here, right? So there actually is a website that was put together by an organization. I think it's blackrestaurantweeks.com maybe, and you actually can go to this website, and there are multiple states that you can enter in the criteria, and they will tell you participating Black restaurants. So it doesn't mean that they have a catalog of all the Black and brown restaurants owned in the United States, but they do have quite a few. States that were participating in Black Restaurant Week, New York, New Jersey, I remember seeing Alabama, I think Chicago, Can't remember?
Yeah, most of the black metro areas, the very popular black cities are participating. We're participating, and listen, and it's not a sly on them. They're doing what they have to do. I'm just saying, even they need support. And the word's not getting out. They need support. You know, as a people, it doesn't. We as individuals can type and text and talk about Black Restaurant Week. When we go out to these restaurants, we can talk about the experience we had there. Not just the negative ones, but the good ones. And you just discover, hey, I was on Fifth Avenue. I ran across this, to celebrate Black Restaurant Week. I ran across this restaurant. This is what I thought about it. We the people, are not doing enough.
That's true.
We're just not. And it's just an awful, it's just an awful thing to just see black people continuously so disorganized. We're just disorganized, and I long for the day where we can start getting things together. We need leadership. It's not just going to happen in a vacuum. It's just not going to prop up and all of a sudden we're just going to start walking in the right path. We need direction, and I don't know where it's going to come from, but it needs to start happening.
So let me ask you, as a husband and wife who are black, who
I'm
own
a husband and wife all in one.
Well, you're representing your wife, who's a little bit more camera shy than you, right?
Yes.
What would you like to see happen during Black Restaurant Week? How can someone best support Amarachi during this time?
Basically, giving me a call, saying, Bob, hey Bob, me and my friends are coming out. And let me tell you something, I have a few friends, I have some great friends that have all reached out this week to make their reservations, tell me that they're coming. So, my friends do, and I always say, listen guys, it ain't about me. For the most part, I'm always good. Like, my friends are amazing. My people are amazing. They're gonna call, they're gonna come out, they're gonna show out. But it's for the guys that don't have it like us. That's why we fight. That's why we raise hell, because we know people that don't get nowhere near the kind of exposure we get. Shit, I was on CNBC talking about black people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How many of us are on CNBC talking about black restaurants?
That's true.
Like I've always said, it's never really about me. And more than like to be honest, I had to turn away people this weekend because we are at capacity.
Right, and that's something that's important because people don't understand capacity. So can you just talk about the fact of the 25% and what that means when you come into dining, and even if it's your favorite place and we know your face?
Absolutely. The 25% rule is extremely frustrating because that's 75% of your capacity that you're not allowed to seat or service. So that's money that you can't have. Money that's standing in your face that you have to say, no, I'm sorry, we cannot seat you. And then on top of that, we are forced to close at 10 p.m. If you know anything about restaurant business, your busiest time is between 8 and 10 p.m. So literally, as you're coming off your busiest hour, you're drop kicking people out the door. That's not a good feeling. You don't want to treat your friends like that. You don't want to treat your customers like that. It's rude. It's crazy. But we sweep everything right now under the COVID clause. Everything is a COVID. So I gotta kick you out on the COVID. I gotta do this. Even though these things don't make sense, I'm looking at restaurants now building restaurants on the damn street.
Right.
With no ventilation.
So I want to talk about that too.
But that's somehow safer for you than to be inside a restaurant that has ventilation, that has filters. I spent over $10,000 just to redo the air filtration system in our restaurant. But somehow sitting outside in a box is safer.
And actually,
guys doing this stuff, they're stupid. They're just dumb.
Listen, can I interject for a second? So I had a discussion on my WhatsApp status where I posted, it was an IHOP restaurant that had built a tent outside in the parking lot. And because the weather is changing, they actually had a tent that was closed in. So I guess it had plastic windows and it had the windows zipped closed. So what has been happening in the last couple of weeks in New Jersey and in New York, yes, initially, Governor Cuomo said outside dining would be safer because it's outside and there's ventilation. And that you had to create, as you know, but because we've done it here, the security barrier, there's X amount of inches thick, X amount of inches from the sidewalk, tables have to be X amount of feet away from each other for social distancing. But what some people have done, I think out of their own creative genius, is create these spaces and they put in the clear glass in between the tables. Perfect, that works great. But other people have also added a closure now that it's windy and now that it's cool. And so it's like you're taking the inside restaurant and putting it outside. That was not approved by Governor Cuomo, or I'm sorry, I don't know the governor's name in New Jersey, but no, they absolutely are. So in some instances, remember how many restaurants we have, how many boroughs and how many places there are, right? So in parts of New Jersey and parts of New York City, the state health board has actually been going around pulling down people's outside closures. So there's a new type of closure called a bubble. So there's a Spanish-owned restaurant where they got a lot of mini tents. And so that round like camping tent with the closure, they built that thinking, hey, this is great, we'll separate them from the rest of the people. And that tent has 2 or 3 tables. So what is happening is the health board is going around tearing down these tents and saying, no, you can't use that. That is not approved by the state. That is actually worse than having them in a larger restaurant where you sit, right? But the problem with social media is those pictures of the bubbles and the closed-in tents are now circulating, and people are looking at it saying, hey, I can go to this place because they have outside dining and it's closed in and maybe I won't be cold. But that's not happening. So what has happened now is Governor Cuomo, the governor of New Jersey, has said those tents have to come down or you get fined, and you have to wait until the CDC issues a guideline of how closed-in outside dining can be set up safely and efficiently for customers. So I had this whole discussion with maybe like 60 people back and forth saying you have to use your own intelligence when you're looking at certain pictures and images and videos. Just because you see it on social media doesn't make it true. Right?
Well, there are some beautiful structures that I've seen. In fact, I might be maybe jealous over them. They're beautiful, but they absolutely make no sense. They have the fake glass, plexiglass, they have a roof. They're completely enclosed. And, they have no ventilation. You guys are all sucking each other's CO2 in there.
That's one of the things I love about here. How much square feet is this? Approximately.
About 2,500.
2,500. And a lot of restaurants, unfortunately, that are Black-owned cannot boast that square footage. And this is really for my mom who's watching right now. Because her concern generally is, if you wear your mask when you're outside and you're in your car and when you're waiting on customers, when you sit down and you all are doing this talk show, how safe are you? We are completely social distanced. There are 2 different VIP areas where the dining tables are. We're nowhere close to those individuals. And it's kind of like quarantining, because literally during the pandemic, the only place I went was here. This was my safe haven, right? So when you come into this restaurant, you will be seated at least 6 feet away from someone else. You're only with your group. You have to have a mask on. And I will say that, I have been labeled as passive aggressive.
No, they ain't no passive aggressive.
I'm not passive.
She's a demon to customers. Customers love her. I've had Yelp reviews now complaining about Donnatella forcing people to wear their masks.
But it's because I love everybody.
It's not funny.
Yeah. And so that's my point. I'm an Aries. There's nothing passive about me if you know me. But if you come to this establishment and I happen to be, visiting, tinkering around, I'm going to tell you that anytime you get up from your table, you walk through the door, you have to have a mask on. When you come in, be prepared to tell us your name and give your temperature. And one person, that means one person in your group, has to give a form of contact information. I asked, a couple came in and I said to them, I need your contact information. And the gentleman went to write his number down, and I thought the woman was going to break his arm. And she was like, you're not giving her your number. And I said,
ladies, please.
Hello, the number's not for me.
Yeah.
But I answered.
We do not use your information for anything other than to collect
Absolutely.
the Department of Health,
Yes.
New York State Board that actually comes to check, to review, to make sure every customer,
Absolutely.
every group is documented. So we follow the rules. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, I hate when they come out with these rules because it seems like they're not sitting down with restaurateurs to discuss these ideas before they just start slapping us around like little bitches, that don't know what they're doing, and it's unfair, you know what I'm saying? It's just completely unfair, you have some spots, I'm not even gonna Friday night, Saturday night, packing 100, 200 people down there, having these illegal parties where
some of them are getting busted.
Well, God knows what
in Williamsburg.
You know what I'm saying? Go after those people, not us that are actually trying to do the right thing. We're trying to make a living. Everybody's scrapping. It's Christmas time. Kids, you know how it is. Money is tight. Business is tight. I had customers that were coming out a month ago that will not come out anymore because of the scare tactics, the frenzy that we've been thrown under by the media right now.
Absolutely.
With all this, I'm tired of it, and everyone knows I've suffered tremendously from COVID, but enough is enough already. This is nothing like it was in March and April, where every day it was RIP to about 10, 15 people in the timeline. It's not killing us like that anymore. Let's have sense. Let's figure out a way. We got vaccines coming. It seems like they're just trying to scare us all into this frenzy. So when they release this vaccine, we'll be lining up like, sheep to go get vaccinated. I'm not getting vaccinated unless I have to. That's just the reality. I'll take my chances. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should. Well, do whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of America. You have your rights.
Well.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you not to take the vaccine because I don't want it. I'm not saying it. I just don't want it. That's it. It's my right, and don't be upset about it.
But let's talk about that, because on November 3rd there was what's the correct term? There was a resolution presented to the health board highly urging that the vaccine, when available, be made mandatory for everyone in the state of New York. And here are some of the consequences, let's say, if you decide not to take the vaccine voluntarily. So one of the things, and I think the final vote was actually this past Saturday, and I'm not sure what conclusion they came to, but a couple of the things that were said is, let's say today the vaccine is made mandatory, and by state it's deemed to be safe, right? And let's say Bob refuses to take the vaccine. One of the things that they said might happen is that depending on what your form of employment is, you may lose your employment if you refuse to take the vaccine.
What if I'm an employer?
Right.
What if I'm not employed? I employ myself.
No, but another stipulation was you may be prevented from traveling inside the New York State airports. And the third one...
That's illegal.
Well, it's not illegal if Governor Cuomo passes another... executive order saying you can't travel.
We've had chicken pox, measles, mumps, rubella.
Doesn't matter.
All right?
None of them were covered this way.
Didn't take those vaccines are not stopped. We're not denied their rights. Okay, you can't do it. You just can't do it. But keep going.
And so one of the other things that they said is that mandatory status, think about it. You're saying it's not legal. They have made it mandatory for all kids in school. Hi, welcome to Amarachi. Someone will be right with you.
No, he's part of the family.
Are you part of the family? See, there goes that aggressiveness of you. But one of the things that they said is that if you were... if your children, and let's go back to this, all children now, from what I understand, because unfortunately I don't have any kids, it's mandatory that they have to take tests if they're in school, right? To which you see, they just closed in-person education. So the school system is now closed, as of, I guess, it was yesterday or today. So if they could make it mandatory that your children take COVID tests when you're not with your children, what makes you think that they can't make you take a vaccine?
Okay, send me. I'm trying to get one of my incredible friends to come on, so I completely missed what you just said. So hit me back with that question.
Yes, definitely. So let's move on then, I guess, to the next topic. And we're really trying to keep the show to an hour.
Yeah, we have a lot going on today because
I don't think it's
no, it has to work because I've got 2 hours taken away from me. We have events starting at 5 o'clock.
Oh, right.
You know.
And again, I'm still waiting for
we don't make $1 off of this show. We do the show because we love to do the show. So
yeah, my mother says I do it because I like to hear myself speak.
All that time.
I'm just lying on my mother. I'm sorry, Mommy. I don't have enough friends to use somebody else.
You do, Donnatella. You do like to hear yourself.
I do. I miss you. You guys have
we gotta get out of T.I.'s way. T.I. got a party. We gotta wrap this show up quick. Because they gonna be in here like, what the hell y'all doing?
I know.
It's a birthday.
Oh, it's T.I.'s birthday?
No.
Oh, a birthday party.
Birthday dinner.
How was the birthday party yesterday for Bella and Destiny?
We cooked a lot of food.
How many steaks did you guys make?
I don't remember, but it was a lot. And big chunky ones. And it went well. It went well. I spoke to them, I left after a while, but I had a great time.
It was good?
Yeah, I had a good time.
I know I had to leave because I did not have on pink, and I did not want to see Bella without my pink on. I'm a little afraid of her. She reminds me of myself at her age.
She probably would have wrestled you to the ground. Okay, so what's your next topic?
Oh, let me see. I'm sorry. I'm multitasking.
We got 14 minutes to go.
I was trying to share the live, and unfortunately, Pastor Chloe, don't be upset with me. I shared my live to her group on Facebook, A&S Association. You guys check those women out. A lot of very powerful, faithful women who are really doing a lot for the community.
Awesome.
So I just want to say that so she's not upset with me. Let's talk about New York City now is ramming up, clamming up, whatever the term is, getting ready for the next Brooklyn Borough president election, as well as New York City mayor. And so the reason why I bring that up, I am a huge supporter and fan of Senator Eric Adams, who is our current Brooklyn Borough president. And recently, I participated in a show on News 12. It's a call-in where you talk to your Brooklyn Borough president. I think it's once a month on Mondays. And I asked Senator Eric Adams a question about the mandatory vaccines. And I knew why I loved him, but I wanted to hear him say it. I'm actually going to post it on my Instagram because I recorded. And I said to him, Senator Eric Adams, I mentioned the resolution that was put forth about the mandatory vaccines, and I asked him what was his opinion. Because he's now running for New York City mayor. I don't know if you know that. They officially announced it yesterday. And I said, how do you feel about this proposed mandatory vaccine? And I was very excited to watch him say he is not in agreement with a mandatory vaccine. He doesn't think that the vaccine will affect everyone across the board the same way. Therefore, each person should have their own say. So I was excited about that. And today, I happen to learn...
I'm a big fan of it. I mean, that brother is...
Of who? Eric Adams? Yeah, I love him.
I'm a big fan of the borough president. In fact, I was trying to figure out how I could call him and ask how I can be part of it.
I call him for you.
She knows me, man. Come on, man. I don't need no introduction. Excuse me. You know what I mean? You just gave me a citation about a month ago.
I know you did. You said you were trying to figure it out. I'm like, you're around her world.
I play with my words.
Not around my honey world. I'm always good.
I'll hook you up. I could really see that.
Secretly, that doesn't mean anybody, you guys.
Oh my God. Anyhow, I want to be part of his administration. I want to get into politics. I want to be in the mayor's office with him because I see he's spiritually grounded. Like his spirit, he's allowing his ancestors to lead our ancestors. I mean, we share ancestry. So I know he's completely walking and moving in like that. I videotaped one of his speeches.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm saving it for the rest of my life. I'm going to whip it out. People underestimate how fantastic.
He's awesome.
And, we're going to be campaigning and filling the room. And,
I'm going to be part of that.
Absolutely. And I want to be a part of, I want to get paid though. I want to be part of the administration.
So Eric Adams, I like that also, because I have donated to you when you were running for the Brooklyn Borough President. But I've been a huge fan of his ever since 100 Black Men in Law Enforcement.
Yes.
And, when he used to be a captain for 25 years. I mean, I wasn't here for those 25 years. I'm only like 30, but...
Oh no, he's been doing it for a while. He's been doing it the right way, and he's not afraid. He's not afraid of speaking the truth. He's not worried about anybody because he's not beholden to anyone.
That's true.
It's his work. He puts in the work. That's it.
So I have someone that I would like to try and get on the show.
What's up?
And I'm going to tell you. So there's a young man. His name is, I'm looking. Kyrie Edwards. So Kyrie Edwards is a Brooklyn-born gentleman who is running for our next Brooklyn Borough President.
Yes, I heard about him.
And
today.
His face looks so familiar. One of the things about Brooklyn, if you're a person who's about positive things or just active in the community, you know all of the people in the community who do great things, right? And so today I was on Instagram. I'm going to say his name wrong. Shawa Dre, who I kind of have a crush on. He has a great smile.
Who, Drake?
No, his name is Shao Dre, SAO_DRE.
Okay.
So he posted a picture and some videos about Kyrie Edwards. And I went to Kyrie Edwards' page where he has a promo, kind of giving his background for people like me who didn't know that he is from Crown Heights. He has kids who go to school in the public school system, and he's totally in love with helping the community and people who look like him. And so now he has launched his campaign to run for Brooklyn Borough President. And so I want to get a little more familiar, but I definitely want to reach out and have him here on the show so that he can come and kind of tell us if he were currently, because this is the question I want to pose to Kyrie Edwards, right? If you were currently acting as the Brooklyn Borough President, what initiatives would you have tried to put forth to better facilitate a working environment for the Black-owned restaurants during this pandemic? Because I think Eric Adams has done a phenomenal job. Every time I see a new restaurant opening, he's there at a ribbon cutting ceremony. I saw him present a citation to Dr. Fauci recently, remotely, because Dr. Fauci, I guess he's in D.C. or wherever he is. Senator Eric Adams has given out a lot of citations for individuals and organizations who stepped up during the pandemic to help the community. There's a citation issued to my good friend Jonathan Adewumi, who passed during the pandemic. But Kyrie Edwards, that's exactly what I'm sending out to you: an open invitation to come and participate on journeys from Lagos to Brooklyn, and let us know what he would have done differently if he were the active Brooklyn Borough President, and what he looks to contribute to the small business organizations in Brooklyn going forward in his tenure. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that's if I don't try to get his job first.
Kyrie, I wasn't expecting that curve. and I will support you a little bit, but I would have to have my allowance above.
I'm telling you, I got a team out there, man. Miss Counselor and my crew, my peoples, we got a team, man. Sooner or later it's gonna materialize, and then, we're gonna take over the world. But I do have one thing to say. We had 8 Nigerian men drafted in the NBA yesterday in the first round.
Really?
Just
Nigerian men, are you single?
Amazing. I tell you, we're coming,
You guys are already here, really.
I know it, but we're just getting started.
Wait, what's the Knicks player that everybody loved?
Adewumi.
No, Old school Knicks player.
John Starks, Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, that's who I'm thinking about.
He's Jamaican.
Is he?
Yeah, he's not Nigerian.
No, Jamaican, Nigerian.
Was Nigerian.
Y'all are cousins. Nigerian and Jamaican.
We're all the same family.
things.
We're all the same. Listen, all black people come from Nigeria at the end of the day. But I'm very proud. I can't wait to see these kids blossom. But once again, we can't just stop there. We have to use these opportunities to create bigger opportunities for people back home, people here. We just need to get organized. Like I said, an organization that can recognize these young men and have these young men, put them in front of proper mentors, and also have them grow and develop into becoming mentors for the ones coming behind them. So, I look forward to setting up something or being a part of something to be able to do that with these Nigerian athletes with Nigerian ancestry. Right. But like just a great thing to watch them come up in basketball, see them come up in football. Mm-hmm. It's too bad baseball doesn't show enough attention to black people. Or you see some Nigerian stuff play baseball too. Oh, did you see the baseball player who was banned from all 104 games next year, forfeiting his $24 million contract? That's my boy Robinson Cano. That is insane. He's 38. This is his first. He's 38. He was a former Yankee, beloved player. This is his second offense. But these guys, they gamble. Listen, if you don't get caught, that's $24 million. He didn't even have to do it. He had $24 million coming to him regardless. But these guys feel a need to take these steroids to prolong their careers, prolong their money, and now he's out. And he's disgraced because this is the second time. Yeah, it is the second time. The next time he's banned for life. No, he's done. He's not coming. He's 38 years old. Nobody needs him. So what happened? So let's. So the reason why I'm really talking about this story is because Bud wouldn't allow me to be on the sports show that he has with the guys, and I'm trying to show him that I know some stuff. Don't say that. But anyway, I'm thinking because I read a story about a very good actor who had a series on HBO for many years. They canceled the show. I'm actually in love with this actor. I can't think of his name. A black and brown actor. And there's a story that came out recently that said he was starving once he lost his series until he got his recent one. And he's married to the child actor from The Cosby Show, the really light-skinned girl that did Angel Heart. Lisa Bonet. Lisa Bonet's husband. You're talking Lisa Bonet's husband is the guy that Aquaman. Yes, Aquaman. So Aquaman said when he lost. Aquaman's black? Yeah, he's blackish. I met him in Hawaii. I thought he was like. He's blackish. Well, what's your black? You're black. South Asian type. Yeah, but I get up. I'm with you. So there's a story that he released that. Once he lost the series that he was on, I think it was HBO. I love that series. I can't think of it now. He plays some big kind of Neanderthal type guy. Jesus. The guy can't act now. Let's not get. He's great. He cannot act. I love him. His life, but he's Aquaman. He had a life before Aquaman. Hello, thank you very much. He had a life before Aquaman. Okay, let's look. We've got 2 minutes left, and there were a couple other topics. As you can hear the customers having a great time in the background. They don't know that we have a show going on. What are you talking about? Propaganda. They are listening, tuned in, watching, and clap it. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Very important, the coronavirus uptick that's going on. I discussed that. Okay, go ahead. So here's my thing, right? You have parts of, I guess it was New Jersey, that have like a 19% positivity rate. 2 areas in New Jersey that are on stay-at-home warning, along with Mount Vernon. 3% or whatever it is now that has our school system closed. I want people to try to remember what happened 2 or 3 months ago when Donald Trump formally issued
issued a stop testing kind of situation. Right around the same time that he hired the new head of the United States Postal Service. And so one of the things that he did, in my opinion, he said, let's stop testing. They opened up the city. Nobody cared then. Numbers were kind of low compared to what they were during the pandemic. So the reason why the numbers are spiking high to me are two reasons. One, people weren't aggressively testing. The numbers can't go up unless people test. So the more you test, the more you're going to find out that people are positive. And then two, you had all those protests. You had all those outdoor parties. You had the voting. So that is why, and then you have the people who refuse to wear the mask, friends. There's a law that is a law, because people keep talking about the executive order. There's a law being presented to say that it's mandatory that you have to wear a mask. And one of the key reasons is, I don't know if people are aware, I believe it's City Winery. There is now the first restaurant/bar to have what they are now calling test to table tested. So there, for $50, you can make a reservation in this winery. You can take a COVID test on, I don't know if it's on your way to the table or prior to. If you test positive, guess what? No dinner, free date, and you spend $50. That's starting next week. And you know what's so crazy? I really want to do it just to see what the experience is like. But I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had a COVID test because I haven't had any symptoms. And yes, I know you could be asymptomatic and not have symptoms, but I feel like every time someone goes and stands in these enormous long lines now. There's actually a lady who was featured on the news today because she lives somewhere in Park Slope and she's close to a city in D, and she's been posting when the lines are short or long on her Twitter account. And so now News 12 started posting her today saying people are going to her to find out how long the lines are, but other people are now sending her pictures and updates from other C&Ds. So she's really City-MDs, literally going viral now because of it.
Is somebody paying her, or they just wasting her damn time?
The what?
Was someone paying her to do this?
But that's just it. She's going to go viral, and then she's going to be able to get paid.
Wow.
But so think about it, right? I'm going to tell you.
Who's going to pay her?
Lots of people. She's going to pick up endorsements. Once she goes viral, you get endorsements from all over the place. That is why some of our youth today are no longer thinking about being doctors and nurses. They're too busy trying to figure a shortcut to go viral on social media.
I think it creates false hope. I don't think it's that easy to monetize going viral. People have this idea that these views are going to translate into dollars overnight.
For a lot of people, it does, though.
It's like hitting the lotto. A lot of people win the lotto every
No,
day, too.
I think it's
there are odds against you. You're not just going to go viral. You got 1 million views and $1 million in parts. It comes driving to your
Well, technically, once you have something like your YouTube becomes monetized after you have 4,000 viewing hours. And during the pandemic, if you literally went live like all those little dance things, you could get 4,000 hours.
I understand that, but do you know how much they pay you? It's crumbs.
Mm-hmm. I think they want their content. I want it.
It's not.
So 2021, that's my challenge. My Twitter girl is gonna go viral. We're not gonna do anything.
Go learn how much YouTube pays you for viewership.
Well, I know it is really small when you start out, but the idea is the problem with the world now is everybody's looking at the visual. You're posting whatever it is you want the world to see. And you may be going home to a basement apartment, to a car. You might not even live anywhere. I think my life is a perfect example of how you have no idea what the person on the other end of that camera is doing, especially if they're looking like me and have good-looking parents and good genes. So we said we were going to keep this to 5 o'clock. It's for an hour. It's 5:03.
Absolutely. No, just to piggyback on your point, the point I was making was that...
I can't hear you.
I said just to piggyback on your point, the point I wanted to share with everyone is that, you know, a lot of people are doing these podcasts and things and holding up to viewership. That's not really, you don't really make money from there.
Right.
I know a lot of guys in the sports podcast.
Yeah.
You know, they post their picks and talk about sports and things like that. And it's really their fans that send money in. They set up Patreon accounts. They set up, Cash App accounts.
Or they're downloading.
Yeah. And people send real money to you because these views, like I said, you need millions and millions of them to actually, that's why these artists have 60 million views all over the country, Yeah, they're not making, but the average guy's not going to get 60 million views. You get 1,000 views, you're rocking and rolling, but 1,000 views translating to dollars is not enough to shop in and buy wings at Wegmans.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that, and if you pay attention, last night I use Snapchat. I love it. That's one of my last thing I really say. There was a young man that I follow on my Snapchat who posted a message where a woman, a single mother, sent him a message and asked him for $30. And he said he would do her one step better. He would send her $30, but he would post her Snapchat name on his feed and ask all of his followers to give her at least $1. And that's something I said a long time ago, that if you think, like I have very few followers, maybe like 5,000, and one day I'm going to go through and see how many of their ghost accounts, but if you ask people...
I got 100.
You got what? 100?
No, I don't even have that.
Well, that's because you have 3 different accounts, bud.
I still don't have 5,000.
Anywho, like I was saying, if you have... The thing that makes you money on social media, it isn't the amount of followers. Because I know people that have almost 200,000 followers and no engagement. It's about you really presenting your true self, or the self you can get people to believe, and then you engage with them. It's about sending DMs, responding to them, commenting, liking pictures. Everybody likes some sort of attention. And then when you start to promote a product, putting it at a price point that is conceivable for the demographic that you're targeting. And that's your secret, really. Okay, I'm hungry now, and this drink is really good to my head, so I gotta go.
Listen, thank you everybody for watching our abbreviated show. I like the 4 o'clock. I like the 4 o'clock. I'm gonna work on that next week. I like the 4 o'clock segment.
Yeah, 4 o'clock is good.
Seeing us at 4 to 5 really Thursday. We're just gonna add more days.
And we're gonna start advertising.
Yeah. You know what? Look, I'm not spending no money to promote my ideas.
I mean, really creating the promo before the day up, which is what we did today.
We're gonna give you more content, more us.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much.
Guys.
I look forward to seeing you guys.
Hopefully by then Trump will be out of office.
Yes, and come out early, but just know that you may show up to Amarachi and not be able to get in.
Don't listen. Don't get tactics. Don't sit. Come, just come. I'll find a way. We'll go sit in my car and have a beer.
Yeah, and I'll wave at you through the window.
Just come. Don't worry about it.